Hello, this is Anthony. I want to remind you of the invisible people. In a lot of ways, they're invisible because you don't always pay attention to them every day. But when they're gone, then you've lost, and you feel a loss. There's a lot of family, friends, and just people in your life. You don't realize it, but you may not talk, you may not visit with them, but it's like in your heart and mind, spirit, you know that they're there. And so that's part of making your world feel okay, because you know they're there. Could be a lady at the checkout counter. It could be the bum on the road. My dad, before he passed away, there was two special needs men. One was named Johnny, and the other was Ralphie. And on the road out in front of the house, every time they'd walk by, then I go, "Hello, Richard. Hi, Richard." These two men who had a young mentality, but they'd always say hello. And Dad would talk to them and say hello, and then off they would go. And during COVID, they both passed away. And time had went by, and I was talking to my dad one day, and nobody's going to pay a lot of attention to a couple of special needs men. They're going to take care of them, they'll be kind, but, it's not like you're going to have that relationship, be able to discuss things or politics or sports or some things. I mean, they did have certain abilities, but they were still special needs men. And my dad looks at me and goes, "I miss those guys. I miss them going by and just saying hello." Because, see, that was part of the world being normal. Years ago, when I was at Bible school, I lived in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma at the time, and not too far away, it was a really busy train station. Those woo, all night long. And I heard people complain about those whistles. And I was like, I didn't complain about those whistles. I would lay in bed, and maybe I would wake up just enough to hear those whistles in my mind, and I would think, wow, the world's okay. It's still together tonight. Everything's okay, because, see, people are still working, the trains are still moving, everything's okay. And then when it was there, it was like, I missed something. One time I went through a bad divorce, and the person I was married to at the time took my son, and the house was quiet. I couldn't sleep. Oh, it was terrible trying to sleep for months. It was terrible trying to sleep. And because I didn't know why. I didn't, normally I went to bed, I just fall right to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. I was miserable. Why can't I just sleep? And I was worried about my son. I missed him. I didn't know where he's at, and some bunch of other stuff was going on, but I still needed to sleep. I had to work. I had to do all sorts of stuff to keep things going. And then one night there was a windstorm. And it was so noisy, and the branches were hitting the house and different things. And then I realized I fell right to sleep. It was the noise. My son, when he was laying in his crib, he'd roll over. It's not like I couldn't talk to him, but see, I knew he was okay. I knew the world was okay because I could hear him. He was a noisy child when he slept. But in that noise, I knew everything was okay. I knew he was okay because I could hear him when I slept. And he was, in some ways, your small child's invisible, in some ways, but yet that was important. And there's other people I think of, just like a guy who had a 3-wheeled car. He always drove all over the place, and he had one leg and one arm, and he was an artist. His name was Bubba. And it was like, "Hey, Bubba," it's not like we were close friends. We never sat down and had coffee or anything. But, Bubba was part of the world. And when I saw Bubba, I'd wave, we'd always talk. I didn't even think he knew my name, but we'd always talk. And then one day someone called and said, "It's Anthony. Bubba passed away. They found him dead." And for many people, Bubba was like that piece that made the town okay. And there's many people, I call them the invisible people, because in some ways they make a major part of our life, but yet in some ways we don't see them until they're gone. Maybe if you got an invisible person, someone, maybe a dog, could be a cat, could be a human, something, that makes a difference in your life. Walk up and make sure they're not invisible. Just say, thank you for being here. Say something out of your heart or mind or spirit that makes a difference. And then it acknowledges that that person, even though very minute to you, makes your world okay. Make their life count. That way it counts back to you. Good night.